Hello all, hope everyone's having a great summer. Zach Grant here with U of I Extension in the Urban Ag Connect vlog series. I've been absent most of the summer. We've been very busy here at the site, working on research projects and other things that have precluded me from doing as much vlogging as I would like to. Moving forward, I'm probably going to just have to switch the format up to only do this, quarterly possibly. No more than 6 times a year, every other month. We also have an Instagram channel. I'm going to put that link down in the comment section. And I think I'm going to start using that a little bit more for weekly content, where I can share some videos and tips and just better in time information. It'll probably be easier to do that on Instagram rather than putting these vlogs out via our YouTube channel. So out here today, it's the middle of September, and we are transitioning from our summer crops to winter production in the high tunnel. I'm going to show you really quick little bed prep and planting that we're doing here, some techniques for that, and just show you a quick little walk around of what's going on here late in the season as we transition to winter production in the end of the outdoor season. All right, let's check out what we have going on. So here we are out in the burn bed area. We have the the overhead sprinkler system is on. I don't know how well you can see that. This is actually a bed in burn bed 2 where we have some late fall plantings. So it's a lot of Hakurei turnips, radish, arugula, some head lettuce, and kales that you can see down there. And we have this automated with these micro sprinklers. So these are the medium-sized sprinklers that we use. And you can see I have them spaced pretty closely together, so there's that nice overlapping overhead pattern. And we have it on a timer system, so it can irrigate pretty much just one bed, although I guess it's irrigating enough of all 3 of these beds and a little bit of the raised beds over in that section. So we'll be harvesting from here throughout the fall. I have some hoops in place. We'll probably be able to protect these through light freezes and some frosts, and have minimal season extension out here in this outdoor area before we transition to our winter production that'll primarily be in the tunnel space. Over here, I have all of my bed prep equipment. So I'm going to splice in a little time-lapse video of prepping this bed in the northeast section. This is northeast bed number 6. We actually didn't plant this bed this year, so this is carrying over from last year, which was likely a brassica family, and then I rotated that into I believe a clover rye cover crop that overwintered, and I tarp killed that with that tarp at the end of the row this year, and it just kind of sat. We didn't get to plant in it, but I'm going to go ahead and plant it right now with some very cold-hardy crops. So definitely going to do maybe at least a third of the bed in spinach and maybe a couple other greens. Experiment to see how well they do into the late fall months. So in terms of non-protected plantings, it's a little bit late, but you can see here I have some hoops. A lot of these smaller, these are I think 6-gauge wire hoops that I can stagger out in this row, and we'll cover it with the Agribond 30, which gives 4 or 5 degrees of temperature protection. And then if everything's going good, probably cover it with plastic to kind of overwinter the bed, and we'll see what kind of production we get out of it for overwintering into early spring. So all of our outdoor summer fruiting crops are still going on pretty strong. We're still harvesting a decent amount from out here, out of doors. The tunnel tomatoes, Sarah's actually in there right now, and we're doing the last harvest inside of the tunnels. We're going to rip these tomatoes out and get ready for our winter plantings. So you can see we've already started ripping some out, harvesting the last of the tomatoes in here, getting some green tomatoes. There's Sarah down there harvesting. So it's a bit of a jungle in here right now, but we still have a decent amount of fruit. But like I said, we're going to harvest today, harvest Wednesday, and then be done with the summer fruiting crops in here. These are kales that we had planted since late January, early February, so we might just overwinter these, or some of them, beyond and just plant the rest of the beds with hardy crops. So, like I said, transitioning that right now with these non-movable tunnels, you kind of have to make a choice at a certain time of the year if you want to do winter production to pull your summer crops out. If this tunnel was movable, we could move it from this site, over to this area. Then we could keep the tomatoes in there for a while, get our beds prepped out here, planted, start our successions, and then move the tunnel over the top of it. But that's not what we have. We have a non-movable tunnel, so we'll have to just work with that. This is actually one bed of buckwheat, so this was a early spring bed that we planted and harvested, and then I put this buckwheat cover crop in just a few weeks ago. You can see it grows really fast and then starts to flower really quickly, which is nice. Buckwheat is a great cover crop for quick ground cover transition. Also bringing in some, different pollinators and beneficial insects that are attracted to the flower. So kind of a dual purpose cover crop. Over here in Northwest, here's where we had our organic fertilizer research trial project. We'll be coming out with a report about that this fall into the winter. And then we have some of our, kind of year-long kale plantings, brassica plantings in here that we're still kind of harvesting from a little bit. You can see a little bit of nutsedge and flower of an hour weed issues in here, but we might actually just try to overwinter these beds with this kale in place, and then all these other beds that we've kind of transitioned or tilled up, gonna get a late cover crop in here. Not sure which species mix yet. I'm gonna have to look at my rotation plan, but there still should be plenty of time, even to the end of September, early October, to get at least things like winter rye in here and get a decent stand established for overwintering. So that's what we got going on. This is the bed that I am getting ready to plant right here. As you can see, I already have it somewhat prepped. You can see my row marker system is in place, and I am going to use the Zhang JP1 clean seeder to plant these rows really quickly. So with the bed prep, even though I'm direct seeding, getting these lines established is nice, because then I can just rip up and down the rows with the Zhang seeder, and it makes planting really easy. So this is really only about 10-15 minutes of bed prep for this bed. Just takes a few minutes to plant. So developing a good bed prep system, bed flipping, bed turnover protocol is really important. And here are the main tools that we're using. So the broad fork, the bed prep rake, the tilther, and then this bed tamper that also serves as a row marker to kind of flatten the bed out. This tool isn't as important depending on the soil structure and which type of seeder you're using, but I like to use it to level it out and make a nice firm, flat planting surface, so the seeder works a little bit better. For transplanting, it's not as necessary unless it's the sole way that you're marking your beds with those plastic rings. I do have a bunch of Delta traps. You can see one right there, and I have a few along the fence line out here. We've been monitoring for things like corn earworm, which is also tomato fruit worm, black cutworm, beet army worm, cabbage looper, and diamondback moth. And we have actually done, early on we weren't really catching too many, but this kind of late in the season we are starting to trap some. So the pheromone traps work. You can see that little gray eraser like device in there. That's the lure, and then those very likely are the diamondback moths that you see in there attached to the sticky trap. But I haven't identified them yet, so I can't confirm that. So trying to do a little bit of monitoring out here, but we haven't seen major pest pressure this year. You can see the imported cabbage worms flying around, so we've been managing those fairly decently with BT. A few applications of BT seem to be holding those at bay. Our biggest problem still this year, as it was last year, is dealing with the meadow voles. So using all this landscape fabric to try to keep some of the weed pressure down, creates a great environment for them to nest under and find shelter and protection. So we'll be thinking about some different strategies to help with that next year. They don't devastate our entire diversity of crops, but they definitely chew into fruit and cause some problems in a few of our crops. Okay, so I think we'll leave it there for this kind of late summer, early fall vlog update. And like I said, I want to try to do this at least quarterly and then transition to our Instagram channel. So definitely check the Instagram channel out. I have the link down in the comment section. Subscribe to that. And we'll try to start using that a bit more on a weekly basis for educational content. All right, have a great end to your summer, and we will see you all soon.